Now, keep your last texts coming in for the cringiest chat-up lines, please. Your cringiest chat-up lines, courtesy of Mulligan's Pharmacy. A lovely prize to give away, his and her fragrances. Miyake. Mulliganspharmacy.com. Blue Club loyalty programmes, designer fragrances, all you need in Mulligan's Pharmacy. Text 083 333 975. I seem to have lost my phone number. Can I have yours? Says this texter. And some other interesting chat-up lines. Bernie in Tremor texted in to say thanks very much to Anne and everybody in the Dresser for all the years of service and for the beautiful crib. This is the case. So other people are texting in that regarding the issues that Colin Power said and brought up. Firstly, we're going to go to Gavin Whelan. Good morning, Gavin.
Morning, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Let's start with great news. The club statement from Waterford FC. I'm delighted to announce for the 2020 season from Lee Power that they're partnering with the 24/7 cardiac cover for the South East and using our primary sponsor space to spread awareness of this most vital cause, not only to the people of Waterford, but to the entire South East.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. It was great waking up to that this morning. There was a lot of, I suppose, intriguiness before 9 o'clock as regards what it would be, but absolutely brilliant initiative by Lee Power and Waterford. It's such a big issue, as I say, not just here in the city and county, Demon, but within the whole kind of South East region as well. And it's an absolutely brilliant gesture. And obviously, I know they're going to be launching that jersey next Wednesday night in Waterford as well, but they're going to be wearing those jerseys tonight, of course, up there in Richmond Park for the opening league game of the season. So very nice gesture and great news, and hopefully it's the start of bigger things to come, I suppose, on the field and as well off the field, the 24/7 card, because it just affects so many. There's so many negative stories and some like kind of fatal stories as well, and it's just like we just need to get it sorted. And obviously this is going to further enhance it, I suppose, with the team playing throughout the country as well, and particularly at home as well.
It's very important, and let's get to the nub of this, because money is very important for survival within football clubs. And Lee says in a statement, last year they secured a main sponsor, I think it's Spin, wasn't it?
Spin Casino, yeah,
which
correct.
Was valued to the club in excess of €100,000. So Spin paid €100,000 last year to get their name on the jerseys. In terms of sponsorship, this was a big deal, says Lee. Of course, the prospect of securing a European place played a huge role in securing that huge amount. This season, a number of local and national businesses once again stepped up to secure the position as our main sponsor. However, the amount of the previous deal could not be matched due to the lack of European football this season, something they're going to fight for, obviously. So they've managed to do this and said, like Bowes FC up in Dublin have refugees welcome on their away jerseys.
Yes, that's right, on their white. I've seen that on social media during the weekend.
So this idea of supporting an initiative within a region, within a city and county, and Waterford obviously pulls in very much from people in South Kilkenny and Clonmel and different areas as well, and
Carlow,
all over in Carlow.
Yeah.
So, and the youth structures are really good. So this is a big statement.
Oh, absolutely, it's a massive statement. You know what I mean? It's from like grassroots up, really. You know what I mean? As I said, it has to happen. It's such a topical issue, and I think it's brilliant from Lee Power's point of view. Obviously, there was that disappointment as well of Europe, but he's really kind of obviously getting back involved with the club, and now this sponsorship deal, and I suppose the promotion of it as well. And it's such a topical issue. As I said, Damien, it's going to be brilliant, and I hope everyone gives it its support as well, and no doubt the players and the club will be fully behind it as well.
And Clem Jacob have come in behind our coverage. You're heading up to Richmond Park tonight to play St. Pat's.
Yeah,
with the
Balmackie. No, I don't think. No, I didn't make the match day squad anyway, but I did make the commentary box tonight. So looking forward to it. It's always a good old crack, I suppose. So it'll be a tough opener. And Stephen O'Donnell, of course, formidable manager with Pats. They'll probably feel they probably should have done a bit better last year. Obviously, they took Waterford's place in Europe. There's still a bit of spice, I'm sure, among the Blues fans over that one. So
a lot of spice.
They're going to be fairly rapturous up there tonight. It's good, in Shakur Richmond Park. It's a tight stadium. You're really kind of up next to the players, so it should be a cracking atmosphere up there. Two new look squads. Brian Murphy, I think yesterday I was on mentioning with Aveen that he's the latest signing. Of course, we're interested to see whether he starts in goal tonight. Michael O'Connor, I suppose a lot expected of him. Kevin O'Connor, these guys. Sam Bone is still there. You've Rory Feely then, of course, playing for St. Pat's, last year's captain with Waterford, so that'll, I suppose, add an extra bit of intrigue to the whole game. So looking forward to it. I suppose this stage of the season, Damien, it's kind of, everyone looks forward to what the year will progress. I was reading a couple of articles during the week that Waterford will be hoping maybe they're not gone as strong, the budget has been limited and all that survival would be the main thing, but you win your first couple of games, get points on the board early, that'll be crucial. It's not an easy start because you have Bowes and Shamrock Rovers to come in your next two home games. Of course, they play tomorrow, another big Dublin derby, 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, but looking forward to it. And it's all on the night, really, isn't it? First game, it's hard to really judge, and you'll have to allow players to settle into it. But I think we could see a few goals in this one. Our coverage kicks off as well at 7:30, by the way. Thanks to Clem Jacob Hire. It's brilliant that we can bring you all Waterford FC's away games. We'll be travelling throughout the length and the breadth of the country. So anyone, if you're not heading up tonight, do tune in. Kick-off is at 7:45.
Really interesting GAA matches we'll talk about briefly in a second. Firstly, there is a possibility schoolboys soccer and girls soccer may be cancelled at the weekend, possibly Junior League as well.
Junior League, yeah. And a big shout out as well on that. I was talking to Damien Sheehan, as secretary of the Stradbally Club tomorrow. I know they have a huge occasion tomorrow. It's the first time ever they've reached this stage of the competition. I know they're working really hard during the week. I was saying to even make sure the pitches, they're doing their best. They're not going to leave it go. So they're leaving no stone unturned. It's a brilliant occasion, and I know they'll have a massive Stradbally area and mid-county area out supporting them tomorrow, so particularly to them and to all the clubs. But again, any changes, let you know first thing in the morning. You know, and
Ferrybank, is it? And,
yes, it's a local
another
derby,
big match. But the Stradbally one is like a dream, and I have greatest respect for the Stradbally club and how they've kept it going there. Yeah, and they work with the GA lads as well.
They do, yeah, and great facilities there as well.
To everybody involved in the club now and in the past, the very, very best of luck tomorrow with that. Tell us about the Gaelic.
Yeah, absolutely. Waterford and Limerick head to the Gaelic grounds tomorrow night. Alliance Hurling League 2 unbeaten teams, of course. Loch and Horns should be intriguing. I know it's going to be a rough enough night up there. Hopefully now the weather doesn't play victim to it. Be interesting to see Liam Cahill, what kind of team he comes out with later on, of course, when he'll be released. I know they trained in Carriganore last night. I think both teams will be going for this because they want to lay down a marker. You know, Limerick obviously beat Waterford in the league final last year. Waterford under new manager played very well against Cork, got the win. Probably in patches against Westmeath they'll be disappointed with some of the performance, which you were probably always going to win that game, and they took their foot off the pedal. They had such a big lead at half time, but seem to be buying into it. I know still doing a lot of work behind the scenes. You know, we have to remember, still only February. There won't be anything won or lost at this stage of the year, Damien. I suppose it is all about the championship. Players are getting their chances, and you know, guys are coming back in now out of Fitzgibbon campaigns and that, so I'm sure like both teams will go strong enough. It's a ground probably Waterford have struggled in recent years. Again, a very hard place to get a result under the lights tomorrow night. It's going to be a great occasion. Hopefully, like, the weather doesn't really ruin it. Of course, if you're not heading along Kieran and Owen, thanks to George Corbett's Skoda tomorrow night, kicking off at 6:45. Our coverage throw-in is at 7, but pretty hard to call him again. Limerick at home going to be very hard to beat, but like two unbeaten teams going at it hammer and tongs, we should have a cracker.
Colin Bonner's young lad is Killian, is it?
Yeah, absolutely, Killian. Yeah, I know.
Bonner and Darryl Fitzgerald are all in the Lebanon.
Wish him well. Yeah, I know Killian there. I refed him in his underage days there. He was under the Clonagale banner there from Dunhill. He's fine hurler and footballer as well. Of course, his dad Colin manages the Carlow Hurlers. Of course, they play Dublin tomorrow night in Netwatch Cullen Park. That game is actually going to be refereed by Waterford's Thomas Welch as well. So, want to wish Tyler the best of luck. Best luck to the Wildcats and the Vikings, who have both. The Vikings actually have two games this weekend in the men's Super League. They're playing Saturday and Sunday, so they've no real rest for the wicked there. Busy weekend on the racing as well. Mark Phillips will be in to fill us in that tomorrow. Any postponements as well across the weekend, if you can just let us know tomorrow, ring reception, or just if you want to email us, sport@wlrfm.com. We'll do our best to give out the various postponements, because I know there is a lot of rain forecast in that, and looking forward to the weekend.
Enjoy your night, Gavin. Mind yourself.
Well, hopefully we'll get Valentines night with Matt Keane, sure.
Yeah, could be worse.
Could be worse.
I don't think it could be, actually.
Look forward to it, Damien. Thanks.
Now we're going live to the Lebanon. We're going to be talking to Killian Bonner and Darryl Fitzgerald, two Waterford privates undertaking a rope challenge on Sunday in the Lebanon for a Make-A-Wish Foundation. Lads, hello. Joining me now from the Lebanon is Killian Bonner from Dunhill. Is that it, Killian?
Yeah, that's it. Missing the hurling back at home.
Are you missing it badly? You are, yeah. And Darryl Fitzgerald from Rise Park. Hello, Darryl, how are you?
That's right. Hello, how are you?
Wonderful, thanks. Are you missing the hurling as well, or what do you miss, Darryl?
No, I'm not a hurler myself. He's a boxer.
Oh, a boxer. Oh, very good. My young lad likes the boxing as well. Listen, tell us a little bit about yourselves. How long are you over there, and what's the situation like in the Lebanon? Killian, you start there.
Yeah, so we've both been in the army 5 years. We actually ended up joining together. We've been in Lebanon now since November, so we're doing a 6-month stint over here. I'm back at home in Waterford, boat strand out by the coast, and Darryl is Waterford City. And
is it a little bit nervous over there? I know there's been a lot of unrest in Lebanon the last 12 months in particular, and we're talking about obviously the Golan Heights and different areas around that area. What's it looking like at the minute? Are you on heightened alert, or what's it like?
Well, I suppose we're very prepared. We're giving great info on the area and what's involved. We do a lot of patrols along the border, so just the Israeli border, and we also do camp security. That's 24-hour security all year round, even when we get taken over in 6 months the people who take over that 24 hours again. So it's all security.
Darryl, tell us, you're going to do something on Sunday, I think it is, a rope climb in the Lebanon for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Tell us what you're going to do, please.
That's right. A little bit more nervous to come on the radio and actually climbing the rope there, Damien, but we're well prepared for it. We've been training now the last 10 weeks for it, and it's a muscular endurance event. So we started off 10 minutes on the rope, then up to 20 minutes, and the longest we've done so far is 3 hours. So I think we're well prepared now to smash it on Sunday.
Wow, that's some training. So just explain that to me again. What are you actually doing, Killian, in terms of a rope climb? Are you literally going to be on a rope, climbing up a rope? How does it work?
So the rope is exactly 15 foot. Mount Lebanon is 10,131 feet. So to simulate that height, we have to get up the rope 1,028 times. So that's just between me and Darryl. So that's 514 rope climbs each. And very good timing, we're looking at 5 to 6 hours, but realistically you're looking at 6 to 7. But if we can get under it, fantastic. We've roughly over 1,500 now raised on the Make-A-Wish donation page, and we'll also have a bucket on the day where soldiers passing by can donate as well.
So this rope will be in the barracks, is it? And it'll be hanging 15 foot up in the air, and you'll have to climb up that rope and abseil down. Is that it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
And you're going to do that how many times, did you say?
1,028.
Lads, you're crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too appealing to the outside, but look, back in November,
phenomenal.
If someone said get up the rope 20 times, we'd say like that's a lot. But we know we've done halfway already. We've gone to 540, and it really becomes a mental challenge as you go on.
That is really unbelievable. Tell us about your hands. Do you wear certain gloves or rope burn? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, we're using hardware gloves at the moment, but we get nearly 100 climbs out of them. We have to change the gloves. They rip through and tear into the hands. So the hands will be, they'll take a battering all right on a day.
And even the runners, like the soles will be completely gone off, and from the abseiling back down the rope, it completely tears the rubber. So maybe 2 pairs of runners on the day as well.
And your arms, and then your thighs as well. Like you're wrapping your thighs around this rope. I presume they're rope burn on your thighs.
There's more so the shin, Damien. The shins get pulled up, so you have to wear maybe three pairs of socks on the day with leggings maybe, so our shins don't get tore.
Wow. Now Make-A-Wish granted 10 wishes in Waterford last year. I know it's something that you really feel it's a lovely thing to do. It's a phenomenal thing to do, but the Make-A-Wish Foundation are so proud of you for what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a great organisation, and I suppose I would have learned more about it as well with the Cora Griffin Foundation, the family back home in Dunhill from where I'm from and where I heard as well. So I would have got a lot of information from that charity as well back at home.
And then you roped Darryl into it.
I look to have the opportunity to do what we're doing, and it's a great sense of accomplishment.
It really is, lads. Fair play to you. Killian, do you want to... We gave the swim in Boat Strand and Dunhill there last year a good mention. Do you want to say hello to anybody, Killian?
Yeah, the Bonner household back home in Boat Strand, Mairead, Colm, Sergio and Aisling, a big hello to them.
And Darryl, I presume there's too many people you want to mention, but you want to mention a few. You'll probably leave out a few, but just in terms of Rice Park.
I'd like to say a big hello to me Nanny Biddy at home. She listens to WLR religiously every morning, so I've no doubt she'll be tuned into this. She has a birthday coming up. I hope you enjoy it. I'm sorry I can't be there, and if I get any tips for Cheltenham over here, I'll be sure to send them back to her.
Brilliant. Well, lads, it's a lovely story. It's a brilliant story of endurance and also just community, that you can have a community in the Lebanon reflecting what's happening in Waterford. And fair play to you, lads. I'm really, really impressed with you.
Thanks, Damien.
Thanks, Damien.
Thanks very much, lads, and mind yourselves. Some texts and comments coming in wishing the lads very well. Another text, Damien, Mary Butler never said the victims were behind the organised attacks on her. No, nobody said that. Nobody suggested that. Which you've also been told by the Gardaí not to make any more comments until their investigation is over. Isn't that normally the case when something's been investigated? Possibly. I don't know. Our winner of our Mulligan's Prize is Marion. She says, an Egypt once said to me, do you believe in love at first sight, or will I walk past you again? This was in Muldoon's. So he did walk past again, and he was so flustered, he knocked the table and drinks over and got thrown out many moons ago. So that's for Marion. Marion, congratulations. You've won our prize from Mulligan's Pharmacy. Thank you, Mulligan's, for the prize. Izzy Miyake, his and her fragrances. And if you want all your, I suppose, fragrances and Blue Club loyalty programme and designer fragrances, go to Mulligan's Pharmacy and mulliganspharmacy.com. Next up, we have Emily. Thank you, everybody, for texting in regarding our cringiest chat-up line. Emily, what's the cringiest chat-up line you've ever heard? Do you know?
I think it's more the ones that I have said than ones that I've actually heard.
Go on, give it to me.
I said once to somebody on a night out, keep in mind, like, you know, you have a bit of liquid courage and everything else, and it always sounds better in your head. I think I said to somebody once, oh, are you a car parking fine or a ticket because you have fine written all over you?
Where did that come out of?
Yeah,
did you read that somewhere? Did you have it?
Yeah, I kind of have it written on my hand every time I go out, so I have it ready to go.
You're like one of these hurlers going out with the inspirational quotes on your
I should really change it because it's never actually worked.
Never worked.
I'm sticking to it though, you never know.
Special ode to your mum, Catherine, is it?
Yeah.
She's listening in Slieve Keel Road. Very important to make the difference, Slieve Keel Road.
Slieve Keel, yeah, exactly.
That's right. And your dad Ian is outside listening in the car.
He is.
Hello,
He's
Ian.
waiting for me. Hi, Dad.
Emily Wicks, thank you so much. You were on First Dates on RTE on January the 16th.
Yeah.
We're here to talk a little bit about love. Tell me first a little bit about yourself.
So I'm 28. I'm still... I'm living in Waterford, still living with my parents, so I need to find love ASAP because they just can't wait to get rid of me now at this stage.
I know they're not.
I work in Waterford. I work in Debenhams full time, which I love.
Everybody there, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a very normal person, I guess, in that sense. Just
did you ever have any long-term relationships or?
I had a long-term relationship a few years ago, and ever since I've been more dating more so. It was actually so embarrassing. The whole episode of First Dates, it was like, Emily has been single for 6 years. I was more mortified over that. But it's not even the case you've been single. Like I've been going on dates, but nothing has ever come more than just that, for just dating for a few weeks at a time or so, you know, that kind of way.
And how do you know when it's time to sort of say, this isn't going to work?
I think if you kind of find that you have to compromise too much and you kind of lose yourself a little bit, you're like, do you know what, this is not me. This is not, this is not what I'm about. And I know that, you have to compromise in relationships, of course, but to get to the point where, you kind of lose yourself a little bit, or you kind of put someone ahead of you so much so that you're not happy, then you're kind of like, there's something kind of amiss here. It's not really working out. And then try again, heal and try again,
How did the First Dates programme work out? I watched a bit of it. You were good on it. It was a bit of fun, a bit of crack.
Yeah, do you know what? It's so funny because on Twitter, they told me actually not to look on Twitter because Twitter can be savage. But sure, naturally, the first thing I did was download Twitter and I had to look at it. And the comments were just brilliant. They were so, so funny. And some people were genuinely devastated for me because, we didn't choose to see each other again or anything like that. But at the end of the day, the date went really well. Looking back, it was a date. It was kind of full of banter. I didn't really get the sense of romance from it. It was two people just having a great time, bit of crack, bit of banter, and that was it. And he was a nice guy. We're still keeping in touch through Facebook, and we send each other an odd message. But yeah, it definitely didn't end horrendously. And I think for a date to be so public, on the TV, it could have went so much worse,
Yeah, but you've a lovely, I can see it in you, and you hear it in you, and people are texting in to say you've a lovely voice, you've a lovely personality, and that comes across really nice, and it came across really well on the programme.
Thank God.
You're just yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah. that's what I was worried about. I was like, maybe I should, tone it back a little bit. Everyone said, be yourself. I was like, no, you see, that's where the problem is. If I'm too much myself, will I come across too crazy? And it was actually, the date actually happened a few months before it was actually aired. And then the amount of fear I had leading up to the episode, because I was trying to remember, like, oh God, what did I say? And then I'm thinking, did I say that? And then my mum said to me, she was like, oh, I hope now you didn't embarrass us. And I was like, I can't say that I didn't, because I probably did.
What about Valentines? This interview runs so quickly. It's amazing how when you're having fun. But what about Valentines?
Valentines, I'm working actually after this. Yesterday it was a group of girls. We all went down. We got some Mexican food for like a Galentine's date, which was nice. I wouldn't mind everyone that went is in a relationship apart from me. So I think they were just trying to make me feel better.
Are you Bridget Jones, are you?
I am the Bridget Jones in every situation. But yeah, no, you're my date today. You're the main man in my life. For this morning anyway, at least, and I'm going to go home, have a cup of tea, and then I'm going to head into work.
And then spend some time. Mammy and Daddy tonight, are they doing anything romantic?
I hope not, because I'll have no one else if they just decide to do something. God forbid they have a social life,
Answer and text us in, please, what you're doing. Ian, come in quickly, jump in and we'll talk to you. Listen, it's a pleasure talking to you, Emily. It's amazing how quickly it's gone. No, thanks so much. Good luck in life and in love, and have a great evening, a great weekend.
Thanks so much. Thank you very much. All the best.
Angela has phoned into 051846123 to say she's Emily's neighbour, said she's beautiful inside and out. Now we're going to talk about food and even a little bit of romance as well. Michael Quinn, chef, and WIT lecturer, Julie Ward from Arkeen Superstore. Welcome back, everybody.
How you doing?
Hello.
Michael Quinn, how's it going?
Great.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Damien.
Will we have a pop?
We will. I'll just open this.
Given the season that we're in.
The season that's in it. Julie, tell me about your position within Arkeen.
Yeah, I'm working in Arkeen for the last 2 years as a food and wine customer advisor. Now, I say that with a certain reticence because, to be honest, I learn as much from my customers as they do from me, definitely. But it's a lovely role, really nice. Yeah, so basically I do some tastings, introducing new products or maybe existing products that are already in the shop that are not necessarily maybe coming to people's attention, as there's always so much to see when you go into Arkeen. And
best job in Ireland.
As a shop, yeah, absolutely.
Nearly as good as Michael Quinn's job now.
My job at the moment is to open this. My eyes are widening.
So we're talking about food and drink and all sorts of happy things for Valentine's. Tell us what you have in front of us here, Julie, please.
Okay, so what we have today are just a few suggestions for Valentine's Day. And, obviously I think we tend to think bubbles, wine.
Here comes the pop now. Here we go. Wait.
We don't want a
This should be a
pop,
good pop. This is a good Prosecco. We don't mind a big pop as long as...
there you go.
That sounds good.
There you go, Julie.
Thank you. Well, I'll have to pass this on now because I have indeed... Michael, I'll give it first to you since you'll be cooking.
Okay. Don't you?
So... This is this is the Massatina Prosecco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from Verona. And the reason I brought it in is that it's my go-to Prosecco if I'm gifting someone a Prosecco. I might go a little bit lighter in price if I was maybe just bringing a bottle home for the evening or something. This retails normally around €23. It's often on offer, so it's great value around 20. So it's from Verona, the region where they can only produce Prosecco, very classically made. But Decanter has awarded this 96 points, and this is high praise for wine, for Prosecco. So, it's a very accessible price if you're having a treat for yourself or you want to gift someone. And I promise you, I have gifted to people and they have come back and say, okay, where do I get this?
And goes down very easily.
How did you find it?
Yeah, very. It's got lovely sweet tones, and it goes down very, very, very well.
It's really, it's
that's the main thing.
It's a go-to.
Do you find, have you developed palates and tastes because of your work?
Well,
like are you,
I would have.
Very sensitive. Have you a sensitive mouth, Julie?
Well, I have to take the fifth on that now.
You would, yes. You taste things. You taste things a lot more. And the funny thing about your palate, it does change the older you get. But if you're constantly tasting things and questioning yourself, what is it? Is it sweet, sour? There's, umami, all the different flavours that you get. It certainly does change. And it is, I would taste things a lot quicker. particularly seasoning, particularly salt.
Very important. Yeah, yeah.
Like when we come in there now, you noticed that red wine, Michael, in front of us, and you said straight away, that's a beautiful wine.
Yes.
Talk me through that red wine, Julie.
Okay, actually, the two whites, the red and the white, which I think would pair. Michael's going to talk food, but I think these would, even if you weren't eating, I think these would work lovely. Winter drinking. I think at this time of the year, you want something luxurious that either you're just going to have a bit of cheese or a bit of cold meat or a meal, or something by the fire just to drink on its own. And the reason I brought these two, they're both again Italian, but both of them, the process of making has meant that the grapes have been partially dehydrated before the wines were made. So you have less water involved in the process and more sugars. And those are then, that provides lovely, fodder for the yeasts. So these are very rich, luxurious, and instantly lovely mouthfeel. And I think, it's not the summer. You don't particularly want something really zesty and lively and, that you're going to be outside barbecuing and at it for hours. You might just want a nice slow white or a slow red at this time of the year to just kind of be very relaxed with. Now, it works beautifully with food, both of them very food friendly, but they work on their own or they work with a little bit of cheese.
They do, and particularly the Ripasso. It's just a stunning wine. The minute you taste it, you have something good. And anybody into wine, it's you have a good one.
How does, silly simple question, Michael, how does wine complement food?
It's just the balance between them. I mean, the acidity in the wine will help some food, the sweetness. It's all about flavours and acidity, sweetness, saltiness. And the wine just brings out the best in some food. Like when you're eating fish and you have a nice crisp white wine, that crispness of the white wine just helps that fish. It just gives it an extra something that wasn't there before. The same with, I know this wine particularly well. If you're drinking that and you have a piece of meat or duck or goose or whatever, steak, it just, again, it gives it that extra bit. I mean, yes, the steak is gorgeous, but you have a drop of this with it.
Michael, food, obviously Valentine's Day is upon us, and anybody who hasn't planned by now what they're doing for dinner for tonight, obviously going to restaurants is one thing, but in terms of doing something for tonight.
For tonight, I think that, like everything, keep it simple, but you don't want a big, heavy, stuffy meal. So I just kept it. I think crab is lovely this time of year. You can buy crab that's already picked. You just need the white meat. You mix it with a tiny bit of mayonnaise. If you want to put a bit of garlic through it, a little spoonful of that on a plate, and then you could use just little tomatoes, chop up a little bit of mango, coriander, a little bit of chili. You make a kind of a salsa and a little salad, little light kind of salad, and put that beside it. For kind of main course, I'm thinking maybe because it's Valentine's night and you want to do something quite special. Turbot, brill, John Dory. Again, it's fish, but I think it's light and it's a really nice thing to eat. And just pan fry it, a hot pan. Tiny drop of oil, season the fish with white pepper and a little bit of salt, and get the fishmonger to kind of fillet it and leave the skin onto the pan, leave it get nice and golden, flip it over, a little bit of butter, baste it, and it's done. Fish needs to be cooked medium rare, so you're talking 3-4 minutes to cook the piece of fish.
Nice and light, because you may be hoping to engage in extracurricular
this is it,
exactly.
For later.
You don't want to fall asleep beside the fire.
Perish the thought that's ever happened.
And with that, I think leeks are in season at the moment, so just slice up the leeks really fine into a pot, little bit of water, tiny bit of butter, salt, little bit of pepper. Cook them for about 3 minutes until they're nice and soft. Serve those with the fish, a few orange segments, and a few rustic roast potatoes. Basically, golden wonder potatoes peeled, roughly chopped onto a tray. A little bit of olive oil, garlic, salt, some thyme or whatever herbs you have. Into an oven at 180 degrees for about 15-20 minutes, and they're done. They're lovely and golden.
How does that sound, Julie?
Well, it sounds absolutely perfect. It leaves you just enough time to have a nice glass of champagne while you're waiting for those potatoes.
Exactly.
Champagne?
Champagne. We haven't champagne with us today. People are confused sometimes about, and it's a bit of a complicated one. What's champagne? What's prosecco? What's cava? And really, it's just the production methods that are different, and obviously they come from slightly different countries. But the three of them need to be made within a certain designation in each country. So check the three of them out. Obviously, prosecco's very accessible price wise. You can get a prosecco from €10 or €12. Champagne obviously is more of an investment, but look at it's only once a year, so certainly there's always nice deals out there as well. And cava is always a great one. Spanish one, we have one here from Villa Conchi, and beautifully made, again, Spanish, just different grape, different production methods, more similar to prosecco than champagne.
And you've done it before. We're not going to go through them today now, but there's lots of non-alcoholic wines out there, non-alcoholic beers.
Absolutely. If you are driving, or you have an early morning and you just feel like a glass of wine.
You don't drink alcohol,
absolutely.
And the tastes and the developments of those wines over the years is
much better value.
Much better.
And actually the same goes obviously for beers, ciders, some great ones. You have Highbank, Dungarvan are doing an Irish craft, no alcohol at the moment. So there's certainly more choice.
Like if I even say the word caliber, I think of that taste from 20 years ago, Caliber.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
I'd forgotten. I was thinking Erdinger more.
Michael, now you're squirming.
That brought me back to
You're squirming now.
I didn't drink much of it, but
it was horrible. Janie, it was horrendous. What have we got here?
So what I have here to finish, and I know Michael did a beautiful dessert there, and this would work beautifully, but it also works on its own. Beautiful Irish craft product. And at our team, we're very keen to support Irish craft producers, particularly in the drinks industry. And this is a fabulous project. Fabulous drink here, product. So this is from Lowntown in Cork, two cousins, at the Killahora Orchard. So it's a sustainable orchard. They don't use intervention when they're farming. So they originally started off with a couple of ciders. They've Johnny Faldan, early apple, late apple, and then they came up with this product and one other, both of which are worth mentioning. And remember, Valentine's is a time for maybe gifting as well. You might buy a bottle, but you might buy someone a little token or a gift or something. And if someone has an interest in trying new Irish artisan alcoholic drinks, this would be a perfect one. And if you're talking around €22.
It says port, because anybody the old perception of port is like a very
and now while it's beautiful and it has its place, this is a much lighter drink altogether. It's coming in around 16%, but it's an apple port. So again, you're talking beautiful baked apple flavours, raisins, toffees. So this works beautifully. I'd often have this, just a small glass of it by the fire, and I must say it's so nice. I might go back for a second one, but you're not going to kind of sit down and drink for the night and feel it the next day. So it's called the Killahora being the orchards in Cork, and this is an apple port. So they blend it with a brandy, which has been double distilled, and then they store it in Irish whiskey barrels for a year. So it picks up some of those flavours as well. So it's beautifully complex.
How does that sound, Michael?
Absolutely. I can't wait to taste it.
It's a really nice gift, I tell you. It's a really nice gift and has high praise, even from like Janice Robinson in the UK has given this huge praise. They do an ice wine as well, which means they harvest the apples while they're actually frozen and make the wine from the first press, as you would have an ice wine from frozen grapes.
Is it?
Absolutely beautiful dessert wine or an aperitif. So again, there's loads of choices either for drinking or for gifting.
On that, Michael, again, the idea of if you're writing a novel or writing a book, the beginning, the middle and the end, the first taste in the meal is very important, and then that last taste. Some people may sort of say, okay, I've done the main bit at the start, and the kind of at the dessert, don't worry about it. But that lingering taste is very important.
No, it's very important. It is, and I say that to the students all the time. But again, a chocolate mousse. You have to do something with chocolate, I think. The quality of chocolate you use is really important. So up 65-70%. And chocolate mousse is very easy to make. You need 100 grams of chocolate. You need 4 eggs. And you separate the eggs, the yolks and the whites. And you melt the chocolate over in a bowl over boiling water. And you put in the egg yolks into it. The chocolate will get heavy and block, as they call it, but then you whisk up the whites until they're quite fluffy, and they hold a kind of a shape, an S shape, and then you fold them into the chocolate and the egg yolks. You taste it. I don't have any sugar in this recipe. Some people put in a little bit. I tend not to, because the quality of chocolate is key to it. And then I put it into little glasses or little espresso cups or little dainty teacups. Leave it cool, put a cling film on it and put it in the fridge. So that's something that's done up. and then you take it out, a little bit of cream on top, or serve the cream on the side. And that's it. It's a very simple dessert, a little teaspoon, and you don't need a lot of it. But it's a classic dessert.
Lovely way to finish.
I suppose it's about having fun on Valentine's. It's about doing a little bit, not overstretching yourself, not saying I have to do 4 hours in the kitchen and you end up feeling drained and tired and
you
annoyed
might have
and
any
frustrated.
energy left for anything else then, really.
I noticed neither of you have mentioned oysters.
Intentionally.
Are you an oyster man, Michael?
I am. I love oysters.
Raw?
Raw, cooked.
Do they work?
Yes, they do.
We'll have to get Elaine Power in here now. She can tell us.
We're talking to the wrong person here, exactly. Yeah.
Would you
like
eat
to
oysters?
I love. It's years since I've had oysters. Years since I've had oysters. Yeah, I remember having them. Had them. The first time I ever tasted them, I went up to Sligo. I was working and I went into a hotel. I never had them before. And just that taste down the throat, it was like, oh God, this is so weird. And they were delicious. They were just out of the water.
They tasted the sea. And the old saying is, you should never chew them. You swallow them whole. But that's a waste. You chew them and you get the real flavour, and you get it's a lovely. We've got the best oysters in the world anyway. The Irish oysters. They're so good. The French come over here to start them in little nurseries. But they're fantastic. Yeah. They are. And I haven't mentioned them today because not everyone will go for them.
Listen, happy Valentine's. I hope you have a good night.
Yes, and you too, Damien.
I won't ask you your plans.
As I said, we'll take the fifth.
Julie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Damien.
Michael,
Lovely.
Thank you
very much.
Take it easy. Thanks very much, folks. Hope you have a nice time. Special mention to my sister Anita, who is home from Vancouver. She's listening up in Newtown, Mount Kennedy and Wicklow as we speak, beside my mother Anne. So hello to Mammy and hello to my sister Anita. To all our listeners, different parts of the country and abroad, a special happy Valentine's to you. Happy Valentine's to my brother Ronan as well, listening up in Dublin. Also, that's my gorgeous niece Emily that's been on the show, says Auntie Carmel. Lots of love from Auntie Carmel to Emily Wicks. That was very nice. Absolute Beginners by Bowie, says Ronan, for next week. We'll do that next week, Ronan. Don't have time this morning because we want to go straight to the Business Awards. Today's category, Business Awards, Community and Social Enterprise, sponsored by City Enterprise Centre. Nominees are Waterford Civic Trust, GIY Ireland, Tremor Tidy Towns. Karen Tompkins has been speaking to them to find out a little bit more about their community and social enterprising spirit.
The Community and Social Enterprise category is sponsored by the City Enterprise Centre. First of the nominees is the Waterford Civic Trust. It's a non-profit dedicated to the preservation of heritage in Waterford. Since their foundation in 1990, they've undertaken a number of projects, the most significant being the restoration of the Beach Tower and the blue plaques dotted around the city that commemorate great people and achievements in Waterford. Chairman is Des Griffin.
There wasn't as much awareness of Waterford as a historic city as there should have been. It's the oldest city. If you've been in the Chamber of Commerce and look out the back window, you can see the beach there, which we restored in 1995 as our first major project. Since then, we've done a lot of publications, books of various types, and I suppose what most people will recognise as far or know as far as that all around the city. And in the county now, latterly, we have erected, I think, something over 60 heritage blue plaques, which have really brought the idea home of a historic city to the people of Waterford, I think, and to visitors, because the city has produced an inordinate number of historic personalities who deserve to be commemorated, and it's on that basis that we've operated. Well, our first one, I suppose, at the time was in 1990, was to Edmund Ignatius Rice, as everybody knows. We put some to a family, for example, in Phillip Street, the Collins brothers. 6 brothers, 5 of them went to fight in the First World War. 4 were killed and 1 was injured. Another one was the very famous traditional music brothers, Flanagan brothers from Summerhill Terrace, who had gone to America in 1920 and were the U2 of their day. They had almost vanished completely, and so when we proposed to put up a plaque to those, the family came back from America. It was a huge event. The Jacob family, who invented cream crackers, they were a Waterford institution. Their family home was in O'Connell Street. We put one up to the Jacob family. Peter O'Connor, who was hop, skip and jump Olympic champion, lived in O'Connell Street for years.
Though a small organisation, the Civic Trust is nevertheless achieving its objectives of promoting and preserving the rich heritage of Waterford City and County.
Sometimes people in the normal run-of-the-mill of daily life, people sort of say, oh, well, Waterford is a commercial place. People don't look at the historicity, if there is such a word, of the place. We pass around and we see Reginald Trout, and it's sort of, we're so used to it, we forget that it's there sort of 1,000 years, sort of, you know. It's just to get the locals into the local psyche, that when somebody says to you, what sort of a place is it? Well, I would say to everybody who lives in Waterford and the people of Waterford that we're all citizens of no mean city. This has been around a long time. We're here a long time. We ain't going any place soon. We were there as a historic city at all important events, I suppose, in the life of this country. A Waterford man put St. Patrick's Day on the calendar. A Waterford man gave us the national flag. A Waterford man wrote the 1937 Constitution. I don't think there's any other small city or any big city in Ireland that can claim to that. We gave you Patrick's Day, the national flag and the Constitution. Historic city. That's what we're here for.
Next in the category is GIY Ireland. GIY is a not-for-profit social enterprise and food sustainability organisation supporting the UN SDGs by reconnecting people with real food. Grow HQ is a 65-seat cafe in Waterford. It's a shop and food education programme and attracts over 80,000 visitors a year. Shona Dubois is head of operations.
You know, we started as a social enterprise probably before social enterprises were the kind of commonly accepted setups that they are now. And it's always been that working with a mission and working with purpose, and, you know, everything we make is reinvested back into the company to help us grow and affect greater social change and have that social impact, which is what drives us every day. That's the core of who we are, and that's what really underpins all the work that we do. So to be in that category is the right fit for us, and it's, I suppose, what we're most proud of. It's been a long time, I suppose, coming. Like, the company itself is actually up and running for 11 years now, but really took off when we opened Grow HQ here in the city, and that's 3 years ago now. From real small beginnings when GIY was all about community groups and community food growing projects all across the country, we've now branched out into many, many different areas. What we do used to be a very kind of niche activity, I suppose, and that's why we were always banging the drum trying to bridge that gap between it. It's not just for old people in allotments out in the countryside, it's for everybody, and it's not about gardening, it's about food and it's about food growing, and that's always been our mission. And definitely you can see there's been a huge change. We've been incredibly lucky with the team that we've been able to build and develop over the years here for GIY and across now, obviously, Grow HQ. In total, across both sides of the business, we have just under 30 members of staff, and that covers everything from ourselves, who, like myself, I work on the GIY side in the office. Then you have all the HQ front of house team, the guys in the cafe. We have a full kitchen team, obviously. We have a full garden team, and kind of everything in between. So it's been a real time of growth for us locally here.
By 2030, GIY aims to inspire and support a movement of 100 million people to grow, cook and eat some of their own food for a healthier, more sustainable world.
We have huge ambitions as a company, and I suppose the UN have declared 2020 as the decade of change. So we're looking at between 2020 and 2030, what can we all do as a global community to change the environmental catastrophes that we're facing. And we've kind of taken that same perspective, and we're trying to align what we do with that 10-year ambition. So in 2020 we'd be hoping to support and help in and around 500,000 people to either grow some of their own food or kind of develop that kind of food empathy piece, which is a better connection with their food. And then we're hoping to ramp that up. So by 2030 we're aiming to hit 100 million GIYers. So that's a global ambition, and we're actively trying to figure out that pathway.
Next in the category is Tramore Tidy Towns. And in recent years, Tramore has made significant strides in the Tidy Towns competition. Many ambitious projects have been undertaken and completed by Tramore Tidy Towns, including on the Donna Rail and at the steps near the entrance to Splash World. Epitomising pride of place and volunteerism, a beach clean-up takes place every Sunday at 10 a.m. without fail. Chairperson Anne Chasty is hugely passionate about Tramore and keeping it tidy.
Awards now are a thing, like, to get, I suppose, the work of the tidy towns out there locally and nationally in some of the competitions. So it's brilliant, and and it follows on from the Billy McCarthy WLR award. For me, I just think it's fantastic, and that's what we're doing now. Like, we're entering more competitions and getting ourselves out there more. We're doing the work, but we need the recognition as well. We need to be able to drive on to what we're doing and get more people, obviously, as well, to help help us. Personally, I work in Super Value in Quishes and Tramore. I saw, and I went to many conferences and see, the work of Super Value sponsoring the National Tidy Towns competition, and I thought, we should be doing something, and I just started looking up and I could see their huge commitment, involvement to the communities around the country, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try and get involved in this. We have, a core group of real hardcore, passionate people, so it will be about 10 to 12 people that are out, from March to September physically. We even try to get out most evenings. But then we have the beach cleans every Sunday of the year. So you could have up to 60 or 70.
And it's about more than just litter.
It's good for your well-being, and we sit down and have our coffee afterwards, and it's a social network. We have a little boy that started when he was 6 and he's 8 now, Thomas Butler. And the older people within the group, they love seeing him, and it's a really good feel factor. And there's a connection now with some of them with him, and he brings us, he lifts our spirits, and he's a laugh and a crack, and we love seeing him, and he has a whip out sometimes, moving us along. But it's brilliant, and it's just about the social end of it and having fun as well. If we got €1 for every well done, we would be absolutely so rich. They see it. We've sponsored the picnic area, the area that you come into Tramore. Tramore FC cut the grass for us, so we don't have to worry about that. And our thing is to cover from the entrance in to Tramore. So there's 3 different entrances. So we try and have those. So when you're coming into Tramore, this place is taken care of. It raises the pride in Tramore, but visitors coming as well. So less likely to throw a bit of litter or whatever. Most evenings it could be painting, weeding, litter picking. Even during the day, there's a couple of people, we have the Dream Team, 2 people that just go out and they just do, if you're standing still, they would paint you. It's fantastic, yeah. So we're delighted with what, I suppose, the work that we've done. We're currently working on a sensory garden, designing it, and we're looking for a location, the right location. So...
Lovely report there from Karen. Thank you very much for that, Karen. Andy is up with a special outside broadcast next. Julie has been producing all week. Thank you, Julie, so much. Special mention for another cringy thing came in. I've 10 acres and an outside flushing toilet. Are you interested? What do you think of that for a chat up line? Thank you, everybody, for texting in. Thanks for all your comments this week. We will talk to you on Monday morning. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentines.